Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of We Don't Watch Movies featuring me, Corinne.
And me, Monze.
Woo!
Yay!
Yay!
Ba 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 ba. We don't watch movies.
Ooh! Thank you, Monze, for the theme song.
Anytime you need me to make up out of tune, badly sung, and hummed theme song, I got you.
I know. You've got me since 2010 when I asked you to do that for me.
Uh-huh.
I have that recording somewhere.
Oh my god, no.
Every time I find it, and I'm like, oh, right.
God, I don't even know. It was just like, like I had, oh my god. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, you were coming up with a song on the spot. It was great.
I was doing what I was being told by my director.
It was all improvised. Are you recording?
Oh.
I'm recording.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I've been recording. Otherwise, I'd have been like, no, wait, let me record.
I'm just double checking because I can't see your screen. Anyways, the first episode of 2022, even though this will most likely be released in 2023.
Maybe not. We don't know.
Well, if I follow my schedule, it will be released
I see.
later this year in September. So
Okay, well,
see.
it's gonna, a late.
We've got a backlog of about 20 episodes.
I know, I did see that. That was crazy.
I know. Okay. So,
pulling back the curtain.
Monze, why haven't you seen the movie of this episode, Shape of Water?
Okay, so I really wanted to see this movie. And then what year did this come out?
Oh, I was still in LA. You were not in LA.
It was like 2018 or something.
It was like 2018 or 2017.
It was fairly
recent. Pretty recent.
Yeah. I wanted to see this movie. I just didn't have anyone to see it with, and I just don't like to go see movies by myself. I hate going to the theaters alone. It makes me feel like super depressed. Like, look at this loser. They don't have any friends in the theater by themselves. And then sometimes I think about that one time we went to go see Muppets 2, the Muppets Most Wanted movie.
Are you talking about when Laurel went to sit outside of us, or no?
No. I don't remember. I don't even know what movie that is. No, it was... I went with Emily. I think you came with us. I think it was you, me, and Emily. Mm-hmm. And we went to go see this movie. It was just us, and then there was one guy by himself.
Oh wait, I do remember this.
And he was
close
like
to the screen,
50
right?
years old, yeah. And he was there by himself, and we were just like, it's us, and it's him. And so like, it's like, do I want to be that guy where it's like, it's us and it's her, you know, like. I don't know. So I think about that sometimes too. Like, that guy just went by himself. But you know what? The movie was so good. Mm-hmm. The movie was so good. So, like, I'm glad he went by himself. He went to go see that. Got to experience it in theaters. Because that movie is so good. Jules was watching it, like, the other day. But yeah. So, anyway, I didn't see it. I do want to see it. I still want to see it. I know it was pretty big on Tumblr. On Twitter and stuff, everyone was talking about, like, monster fucking and all that.
Yeah.
Like, because Guillermo del Toro, he just, like, delivers. He gives you what you want. Like, I know what you actually want. This is what you want.
He's, like, plugged into the human psyche. He knows exactly what you want.
The human psyche.
He knows what you want because he knows what he wants, and he knows we both want the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I'm getting deja vu. Did I want to talk about this movie before, but you wanted to see it and didn't want me to spoil it for you?
No.
Okay, never mind.
That was a different movie.
Okay. Cool.
It might have been Raya, but you already spoiled that for me anyway.
Okay.
Maybe it was Jungle Cruise? I did watch Jungle Cruise, by the way.
Oh, you did?
I watched it with my mom and my sisters.
What did you think of it?
It was enjoyable. But yeah, it was kind of flat. Like,
yeah.
It just, I don't know, it just doesn't deliver.
It was frustrating how flat it was because everything else was like, pretty solid. Like, execution-wise, it was, like, well done, but it just felt really empty. It was very strange.
I don't know. Yeah, it was missing something, like a spark. It was missing the spark.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, because I was like, the characters are really great. Like, the story is fairly decent. Like, I loved the tiger, the leopard, or whatever it was, the Proxima. Like, you know, like, all the little things, like, but, I don't know, it was missing something.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Okay. Then, yeah, we'll move forward then without any fear. I will say I enjoy watching movies by myself. I think...
In theaters?
Yeah, in theaters by myself. I've done it a few times. I think the first movie I watched by myself in theaters was Pitch Perfect 3, because I had no one to go with, but I wanted to see it. And I had fun, and then I just kept watching movies by myself. Like, I watched Shang-Chi by myself. There was another movie I think I watched by myself, like, in New York. I don't know. I think I'm like, okay, I got my seat, and if I'm lucky, no one will sit next to me on either side.
Yeah, like, there's the one thing, right? Like, I don't like it when people sit next to me. So if I go with, like, multiple people, I can sit in the middle, and the people sitting next to me are my people.
Yeah.
I also like to, like, chat during a movie. Not, like, chat. Like, I don't think I'm obnoxious about it, but sometimes be like, oh, this guy. Or, like, oh, blah, blah, blah. You know, or, like, oh, hey, that's a reference to, like, something, you know?
Or, like, what's going on? Is he going to do this? Or, like, I think this is this and this, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's fun to do, but, like...
Yeah.
I mean, I'll do that to myself in the theater.
Oh,
I'll be like...
I don't.
Be like, I think this is going to happen, or something.
There's, like, such strong Oven vibes when he did that. Just the way you sat back.
I know. Or I'll be like, is this gonna or whatever. Or like during trailers, I like talk during trailers, even if I'm by myself. I'll be like, it's this and this, and then the movie will come up, I'll be like,
and the person behind you is like, what the heck?
But yeah, I feel like people are hesitant to sit next to someone who's by themselves. You know, so usually...
Well, I mean, like, seats are all, like, reserved now anyway.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Most of the time, which is
That
nice.
is true, yeah.
And then, so when someone does it next to me, I'm like, you really? How dare you?
Yeah. But I don't know, it's like I'm watching a thing by myself, but it's also, like, with other people. So it's like a social but not social thing. Like, I'll eat at restaurants by myself too. Like,
I can't do that either. I cannot. I can't even go into like order food for takeout. Like, I can't. I'm just like my social anxiety. Like, I can't do that.
I love it. I get the whole table to myself. I just like spread out on the table and put my backpack on the other chair.
Oh my god, no.
And I'll be like, this is what I'm eating, and then I'm just like texting someone anyways. So
no, I can't. I can't eat out by myself.
I see.
Like, I can't.
I think once you get over it the first time, because the first time you do it is kind of nerve-wracking, like with the theater or whatever. It's kind of like, ugh. But then, like, once you get over it, you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad, and then, like, it opens the door.
No, I don't know. I can't.
Yeah.
It's weird to me.
I like it. It's like taking myself out on a date.
Taking myself out on a date.
Well, that's what it feels like. It's like, I'm going to
it is?
Yeah, because it's like, I'm going to go to a nice fancy dinner, and I'm just going to, like,
Oh
I have
my
no
God,
one to
that's
go
even
with,
worse.
so I'll just go by myself, and I'm going to order the best thing, and then I'm going to think about, oh, this place is nice, I'm going to take my friend here, because I can definitely recommend it, because I've been here before. Or I'll go to a movie by myself. It's like, oh, I'm taking myself out. Do I want to get popcorn? No, I don't need popcorn. I'm just going to do this. Well, you know, I don't know. I like it.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just programmed that everything that is outside of my house has to be a social thing.
That tracks.
I just don't like to do things by myself.
Yeah.
I think it's because, like, if I have to forcefully interact with someone, I want someone as a backup. Like, to ease my social anxiety, you know?
That's
like,
fair.
Oh, do I have to go talk to someone? It's like, you go do it. You'll do it for me. Like, perfect. And I'll just be there like, what you gonna do about it, you know? Like,
that's so funny because when I'm by myself, I'm less likely to talk to, like, I'll do it, but I don't really like it. But if I'm with someone, if the other person doesn't want to talk to someone, then I'll definitely talk to someone on their behalf.
This is why we make the perfect team.
I know.
Because...
Like, literally when, like, at the national park, where you're like, Corinne, I want one of those coloring books. And I was like, do you want me to get you one? And you were like, yes. And I just went to go get it. So, yeah. But then on the flip side, if I'm with someone who doesn't mind, like, doing the talking, they'll be like, hey, can you ask them for this and this or whatever. So I'm versed like that.
You're versed.
Yeah, I fill in the energy that needs to be filled in. If the other person's shy, then I'll be the one who asks. If the other person's outgoing, then I'll, like, step back. So, but I will say, though, I see what you mean, though. Like, preferably I would go with someone. But if I've got no one to go with and I really want to do the thing, like, I'm just going to go do the thing.
I see. Yeah. I will just not do the thing. So,
sometimes
I never
I just
saw
have
this
to
movie.
get out of the house. So...
No. I'll just go to the store. I'll go to, like, Target.
I guess so. But then you can make it like an outing. It's like, oh, I want to eat, and then I do an activity, and then watch a movie.
No, I'll just get McDonald's drive-thru and eat at home.
Oh, no, I'll eat in the car. I'll eat in the parking lot. I'll be like, I want to be out of my house.
Oh, my God. No. I love being in my house. In my house, in my bed, tucked in, TV on.
I mean, that's nice, too, but sometimes, I don't know, sometimes I get, like, I need to get out. My brain needs, like, fresh air.
I guess.
Yeah. Anyways.
Open a window.
My windows have, like, motion locks on them.
Oh, my God. All right.
I don't know if they're disabled or not. Anyways. So, Monze, what do you think The Shape of Water is about?
Okay, so I know that the lady is deaf. I think it's like World War II or something, right? It's like old-timey. Like the 50s or something. I think she works for like the government. That's what I think. And I don't know if she's like a co-cracker or something. And or maybe it's a scientist lab, and they discover this like creature or whatever. And she's the only one that can communicate with it. I don't know if the monster also knows sign language. I said that really weird, sign language. Or...
Why'd you say it like that?
Because I, like, kind of lost what I was trying to say while I was saying it. Or if maybe they can communicate in some other way. Maybe through vibrations or sounds or something, because he's in the water and she's... sound travels better and what... Anyway, and she's like, ooh, this monster gets me on a deep emotional level and also on a physical level.
On a deep physical level.
On a deep physical level. And everyone's like, girl, what you doing? I know. What you think you doing with that monster? And she's like, but father, I love him. Kind of thing. Except to like the government. So like, but government, I love him. And I think everyone's trying to destroy him or kill him, so it's a bit like, those other movies where they try to destroy the monster. Beauty and the Beast. So they're all trying to, like, kill him. She's like, no! And maybe she saves him in the end, and they run away together. Or maybe he does die, and she's like, you see, this is why humans are terrible. I don't know how good or bad my thing is.
I think you've got the overall vibe.
As long as I have the vibe.
You've got the overall vibe. Some of the details aren't quite correct, but the general flavor of story is correct.
Yeah.
So let's watch the trailer.
If I told you about her, the princess
without voice.
What would I say?
Is this the... I don't think I've ever seen this trailer.
Oh.
Was she not deaf? Is she just mute? Okay. Oh! That horny Master Guillermo del Toro.
Mute. Keep in hearing you.
Clean that lab and get out.
This may very well be the most sensitive asset ever to be housed in this facility.
Okay. Eggs?
That thing looks human.
Ooh.
Stands on two legs, right?
Oh!
I know.
We're created in the world.
Oh! I think I understand.
Language
Egg?
Of understanding emotions.
Benny Goodman. He can dance. Look at him. You love a man who could dance.
When he looks at me, he does not know how I am incomplete.
Aww.
He sees me.
Oh, this is so sad. Ugh, I'm so in love with their love already. Oh my goodness. Is she dancing? Ugh, eggs!
The natives in the Amazon worship it.
Ugh, he's such a jerk. He makes such a good bad guy, though.
Talking about
Whatever his name is, I always forget.
We need to take it apart, learn how it works.
I don't want an intricate beauty.
Her shoe!
We can do nothing. I'm sorry.
Don't do this, Eliza. Don't do this.
If we do nothing, neither are we. Neither are we what?
if I told you about her, what would I say?
The Shape of Water. Okay. This fall. I like how it's just Guillermo del Toro's name the entire way.
I know.
The producer, the writer, the director. I'm gonna make a movie that's just my name, 100%.
Would you like to amend any of your predictions?
Okay. So, I think she works for the government as a cleaner. And she just, like, is sent to clean the lab. They already have this monster. And they're probably experimenting on it or trying to figure out what's going on with it. Excuse me. And she slowly starts building a friendship / romantic relationship with the creature. And then people are... that guy who's probably the head scientist... Oh my god, I have hiccups. The head scientist or whatever is, like, upset because she's interfering with, like, the subject. But also she can communicate with it in a way that he can't, so he's, like, super frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
And she's... maybe she's trying to set him free or something. I don't know. But, of course, the guy is like, you can't have her... No, you can't have it, and if you can't I can't have it, then no one can have it, so I'm gonna kill it. And then I guess she's friends with an artist who's telling us the story about this girl who fell in love with the Shape of Water. Okay. How's that? Is that good enough?
Sure.
I don't like that. Am I... Okay.
I think you're close.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, it's the vibes are pretty similar.
The vibes are there, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, this movie, it's about Miss Eliza Esposito. So she has, like, these scars on her neck, and they mention later in the film that she was found with these wounds on her neck and that she's mute, so she communicates using sign language.
She used to be a fish person.
Maybe. Who knows?
I'm calling it now.
But yeah, she does have these scars on her neck. The movie is set in the early 1960s, so 1962, so it's during the Cold War.
Okay,
and
that makes sense.
she works as a cleaner at like a secret government lab in Baltimore, Maryland, and she has like a super routine life. She like wakes up at a certain time, cooks eggs for herself, goes into the bathtub, does like for like 10 minutes in an egg with an egg timer, and rides the bus, goes to work, is always late. Her friend Zelda holds the line for her all the time, which I think Octavia Spencer. And then she cleans, she eats, she goes back home, she hangs out with her gay artist neighbor, which is like the man we see, and he's like narrating and all that. He's like an old school commercial artist. So
Okay.
yeah. So that's like what he does. He paints like the commercial prints and everything. He kind of has a crush on like the baker guy downstairs who he keeps buying pies from, even though the pies don't taste good.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah. And he has like an appointment tomorrow with like the ad agency because he's kind of like hasn't had a lot of money lately because the ad agencies keep just taking photos, so they're not like hiring him to
they're
do
not
the
using
advertisements
artists,
anymore. So it's kind of in that thing. And he like wears a toupee because he's balding, and he has several cats that he lives with, and they like watch TV together, and they do like the little dances together, which is why she's like dancing down the hall. So they're friends, and he understands her, and then like the same thing the next day. So one day she goes in, and it's like a whole hullabaloo. They're like transporting this like tank locker thing with water into like the secret thing. They're like, oh, I wonder what that is. I don't know. And then there's this new guy who's like real weird. What is his name? Colonel Richard Strickland. Who's this actor? Oh, Michael Shannon. He arrives and
Yeah, that's his name. I never remember his name.
Yeah. He arrives and like he's real weird.
I mean,
yeah, he's real weird. He like has this interest in Eliza because she can't speak, and that's where like Zelda has to like explain to him like, you know, she can't speak, she does this whatever, and he's like, oh, so she can't make any noise, and he's just like really weird about it. And she doesn't like him. And then later, like the next day, they hear like this huge screaming and stuff from like that room, and there's like shooting and stuff like that. And they like go out into the hallway, and the colonel like stumbles out like clutching his hand, and there's like blood all over him, and he falls, and it turned out the monster had bitten off 2 of his fingers.
Hey.
Yeah. So they're like, there's like blood all over the place, and they're like, go in there and clean it up, because they're telling the 2 cleaning ladies to go in there and to clean it up and not make it look like anything, and they're trying to get into the hospital. And Eliza finds his 2 fingers, and she puts them in like her lunch bag and hands it to him. And they're like, they try to reattach it, so he's wearing like a bandage with like his 2 reattached fingers, and he's
That
like,
is so gross.
and it's so gross. And he was like, my fingers were in a lunch bag, they smell like egg. And they're like, well, we had nothing else to put them in, they literally got bit off.
Thank you for saving my fingers.
Yeah, like, what's your problem?
Jesus.
And he has like another weird moment with them. But basically it's like, okay, you guys are allowed in there to like clean and then get out, sort of thing, because otherwise no one's like allowed in there, but they are. So she starts visiting and hanging out with the monster on like her lunch breaks. So she'll like go in there to clean, and she like because she sees like the hand thing, so she's like, oh, and she's wondering like, what is it? And at first it's like super scared of her, and it's in like this big kind of tub thing with like a chain around its neck. So yeah, and he's like super scared of her, but she puts like an egg out for him, and he takes the egg. And then she keeps coming like day by day and leaving eggs for him, and she teaches him like the sign for egg, and so he's like able to sign that he wants the egg, so she gives it to him, and they like start bonding that way.
Beautiful. Yeah.
There's like a scene, like the scene where he like steps up out of the water when she first meets him, and I'm like, oh my god. Like, I already understood. But it was like, that was why I wanted to see the film.
But then you give him the Dorito shoulder 2 ways.
I already knew.
And a 6-pack.
I already knew. Like, Ape Sapien is my favorite character in Hellboy. So I was like, this is just going to be a sexier, beefed-up Ape Sapien wearing nothing. And that's
it's
exactly
like
what
that gif from Community. I hope this doesn't awaken anything in me. Like,
it was already awake. I went there fully awake. the only reason I hadn't watched this movie in so long was because I wasn't sure about the violence because it is an R, and I know Del Toro can get into the gruesome. So that's why I wasn't sure. And then finally I was like, you know what? I'm in a monster fucker mood. I'm just going to suck it up.
Okay.
And just like, you know, check for the stuff or whatever. So I was able to watch it. But yeah, that first reveal out of the water, I was like, oh my god, it's just the way they shoot it, like him like unraveling himself and standing up. He's also like 7 feet tall. It's just it's so good. So
it's so good.
Yeah, it's like I get it. I already got it, but definitely yes, I'm affirming this. I would have clapped in the theater. So
wow. Okay.
So yeah, they start like bonding. She brings music for him to listen to and like teaching him the signs and all that stuff, and they're being friends and all that. But then she overhears, because like they come back, so she like hides, and she overhears the people who are doing experiments. They like come in, and they have like this taser that they keep like shocking him with to like keep him docile or whatever, or to scare him. And like there's this scientist working on him and stuff to try to figure out what's going on with him. And this general comes over to like look at it. And he's like, what can he do? What's so special about this thing? And they're like, oh, well, he's like completely amphibious. He can exist in the water and in the air, but he has like, he only can live in the air for a certain amount of time kind of thing. They're like, we still don't know 100%. And they're like, can it be a weapon? They're like, I'm not sure. And then...
Classic America.
Yeah, the scientist, and then the colonel is like, I think we should vivisect it. And the scientist is like, no, this thing is beautiful and unique. We can't do that. And the general's like, oh, I think we will. So he's like, what? And Eliza, of course, is like, oh my god, no, they're gonna kill my mans. I can't have that.
They can't dissect my man.
No. So, she, like, escapes, but she, like, leaves behind, like, an egg, and then the colonel guy kind of lifts the egg and is like, who was in here?
Who was in here?
Yeah.
Who made my hand smell like egg?
He also, like, there's a scene where he goes home to his wife, because, like, they just moved there, so he has, like, the perfect nuclear family. He's got, like, a wife and 2 kids or whatever.
Ugh, gross.
And the kids go somewhere, and the wife is like, ooh, I want to do stuff with you. Let me take my whole boob out of my shirt. And I was like, the whole boob? The whole, just one boob.
Not even like side boob?
No,
not even both boobs.
She was just like, look, and like popped it out.
Look at this. Boom!
Literally!
You ever seen this before? I don't think you have.
Quite literally. It was just like, I was like, oh my god. And then it shows them like later in bed, but then he's like, trying to make her quiet. He's like, don't talk. And I'm like, oh no, he's got this weird like silence fetish. That's why he's so like interested in Eliza. And he likes that she's scared of him or whatever. And so Eliza's like freaking out because she's like, oh my god, they're gonna like kill my man. So she's trying to find like a plan to get him out of there. Meanwhile, we see that the scientist is actually a Russian spy. Oh yeah, and he like meets up with his handlers. And like the version I watched didn't have the subtitles burnt in, so they were just speaking in Russian. I had no idea what they were saying.
And you had no idea what they were saying.
I was like, what? So I had to like look up the dialogue later with like a script. But he's basically telling them, like, the Americans are going to kill this guy, like, the thing, and we need to keep him alive. And the Russians are like, you should euthanize it so that the Americans can't study it. And he's like, what? So
oh my god.
Yeah. So then Eliza goes to the artist guy, and she's like, you need to help me get him out of there. And that's where she's having that whole speech, which again, there were no subtitles even for her that like in the version I had. I didn't realize there were subtitles. I thought that was
so
like,
you were just like, I don't know what's going on.
Well, it's because like her friend is like repeating what she's saying out loud. So I'm like, I imagine she is saying like what he says she is saying. And that's sort of the whole thing where he's like, he's not even human. And she's like, if we don't help him, then neither are we, kind of thing. And she gives the whole speech of like, when he looks at me, he doesn't know what I don't have, kind of thing. Because both of them are lonely people, so she's kind of like appealing to that with him. And this guy also had just gotten rejected again for the advertising thing. And he's like, no, it's too crazy. I'm not going to help you. And then he like goes down to the bakery area, and the baker guy is there, and he's being friendly with him. And Giles tries to like make a move on him, and the baker's like, whoa, what are you doing?
Whoa, it's 1962.
And I'm homophobic. And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then the guy's like, I think you should leave and not come back. And he's like, okay, I'm sorry. And then later he's like, also your pies stink. So then Giles comes back from that, and he tells Eliza, all right, I'll help you. And so he like forges credentials and paints on the car to make it look like a janitor car or something like that, like a service car.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like a janitor car.
Yeah. Because they have to get into the facility, but like they don't know, like they need a way to get in. So he like paints a van to look good, and then he forges identification and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And then Zelda finds out what's going on. And she's kind of been thinking, like, Eliza's been spending a lot of time over there and not with the rest of us. What's going on here? And then she's like, no way. Like, she sees Eliza, she runs into Eliza at one point, like, while they're doing the escape. And she's like, you gotta stop this. And Eliza's like, nope. And Zelda's like, fuck, I guess I'm helping you then, because the only other option is to not help you. So Is
it like, because she finds out she's stealing him, or because she thinks she's doing something else?
She finds out she's like stealing him. Like she's like going to rescue him, basically. She's like, you are trying to rescue him. I'm realizing what you're doing. We're not supposed to do that. We're going to get into so much trouble. But Eliza's basically like, I'm already doing it. You're either helping me or you're not. And Zelda's like, I guess I'm helping you. And like the guy with the van, because they're trying to like transport him in like the laundry bin thing. And they're trying to take him to like the loading dock garage thing, but the guy in the van is like stuck because the paint hadn't fully dried on the identification card that he had. So the guy at the gate is like, I don't think you're legit. So Giles just like drives anyways, and then Eliza, and then like the alarm goes off and stuff, but then plot twist, the scientist helps them because he sees them, and he's like, you know what, I can tell you're trying to help this thing, and my love for science outweighs my duty to my country, so I'm going to help you get him out of there, kind of thing. So he's also helping Eliza. And he, like, tells her instructions on, like, here's the amount of water salinity he needs, here's what he eats, etc., etc. Like, I'm helping you out. And I'm going to lie for you as well by being like, I don't know, I haven't seen you, that kind of thing. So it's like a whole thing, and they just barely get away. Like, the Colonel is, like, shooting at the back of the car while they're driving away. Like, that's how close it is. But they do it. And she wants to release him into the canal when the rains get really heavy and it opens up. So that's, like, her thing, because then it will open to the ocean. But in the meantime, she just keeps him in the bathtub with, like, the salinity and everything like that. So he just, like, chills there. And then the next day...
out in the bathtub.
Exactly. And then the next day, the Colonel is, like, interrogating Eliza and Zelda, but he doesn't get any information. And Eliza has, like, had enough of his shit, so she's, like, telling him, like, fuck off and everything, and just giving him this whole smirk. And he's like, I don't like you, what's wrong with you, da-da-da-da. And she's just like, fuck you, blah, 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 that kind of thing. And then at the apartment, because she asks Giles to, like, keep an eye on the amphibian guy, the fish man. And he's also like, wow, this thing is beautiful. I want to paint him, kind of thing, because he is. And he ends up in Giles' apartment.
Gorgeous.
Yes, because he is. He ends up in Giles' apartment, and Giles ends up falling asleep, and he wakes up and sees the guy, like, eating one of his cats, which is another reason I didn't really want to watch the movie, because I was like, oh no, not a dead cat. But yeah, it's like, there's, like, a scene where the fish guy, like, looks at one of the cats, and then the cat, like, hisses at him, and he's like, I'm hungry. And then the next scene is Giles waking up, and he's, like, eating the cat. And so Giles is like, oh my god, what did you do? And then he scares the fish man. He's like, rah! And the fish man, like, accidentally, like, he kind of slashes Giles on the way, like, while he runs out of the apartment. And he runs into downstairs where there's, like, a movie theater. And Giles is like, Eliza, you need to come home. It's not his fault, but, like, he ran off, yada yada, that kind of thing. So Eliza comes home, and she finds him in the movie theater. That's, like, the bloody handprint and stuff. She finds him in the movie theater, and he's just standing in the middle of the theater, like, watching this film. And she's like, yo, let's get upstairs. It's okay. Like, you can't be out here. And the creature's like, sorry for eating your cat. I'm gonna heal you.
Yo, man, sorry about that. Let me just fix this up right quick. Let me just right the wrong I've done.
Exactly. So he, like, touches the scratches on his arm, and then he also, like, puts, like, he touches the guy's head, and then, like, puts the guy's hand on his head or whatever. He's, like, doing this whole thing, and Giles is like, I don't know what's going on, but okay.
Does he grow his hair back?
The next morning, his hair, like, grows back, and the wound is gone.
Oh,
so he's like, oh my goodness. And then there's another cute scene where, like, the fish guy is, like, now that he understands he shouldn't eat cats, he's, like, trying to appeal to the cat now, like, the other cats, by, like, playing with them or something. But Giles is like, no, away, get away from them. So yeah, it's like, oh, he can heal stuff. And then as things continue, Eliza is like, I've got a hot man in my tub. I'm going to capitalize on this.
I like how you say that.
She just shows up in the bathroom, like, wearing nothing but a robe, and then, like, it comes off. And then the fish man stands up, and he's like, oh. And she's like, oh. And then they embrace.
Oh my god.
I know, it's like a thing. And then they just, like, keep doing this. There's, like, another day where they're, like, going to do it. And then she, like, closes the door and she's like, I've got a great idea. And she just floods her entire bathroom until it's, like, all the way, like, the water's all the way up to the ceiling. And they're, like, swirling around in the water together. And it's, like, this whole beautiful thing. They're both naked in the water. But, like, the water's, like, dripping down into the apartment below her.
Yeah, it has to.
Like, the cinema people are complaining. They're like, why am I getting rained on in the middle of this showing of, I don't know, whatever movie I'm watching? And, like, the downstairs neighbor is like, bro, what the fuck? And the landlord's like, everyone's complaining. And so he's telling Giles, like, go talk to her. So Giles is like, okay, I'll go talk. So he goes into the apartment, and there's just, like, water pouring out from the thing, because she also put, like, towels on the bottom, like, to keep the water in, but it's still, like, coming out. He opens the door, and all the water just gushes out, and he just sees her, like, the back of the fish guy, and she's, like, hugging him, and she's looking out from over his shoulder, like, I just banged this guy.
In the water. Oh my god.
And he's like, okay, I'll leave you two alone.
Alright, I got it.
Yeah. So that's all happening. And then the general shows up at the Colonel and is like, you have a day and a half to recover the fish guy, otherwise your career is over. Also, I'm gonna kill you. And he's like,
okay.
Whoa, okay, sure. And then the scientist is being told, we're going to extract you from the U.S. in 2 days. So everyone's like, all right. Also, the Colonel's, like, hands are, like, deteriorating. Like, they're not connecting well.
I'm sure.
They're getting gross. And he's like, ooh. Like, they're gross. And then the day that they have to release the amphibian man is coming closer, but he's getting, like, sicker. Like, his scales are starting to come off. And she's like, oh, no, like, what's going on? No, the day has to come soon. I don't want to say bye, but also you're getting sick, kind of thing. And so the scientist goes to, like, meet his handlers. And the handlers come out, and they just start, like, shooting at him. And he's like, what the fuck? But then Strickland, like, the Colonel, is also there because he followed him. Because he's suspicious of the scientist. He's like, I think he was in on the reason why this guy disappeared. So he follows him, and then he sees this happen, and then he shoots the other two. The scientist got shot in the cheek.
Ew.
which is gross. And then I didn't watch this part, but I know it happens because of the parental advisory. So
Okay.
so the colonel and also he can barely talk. So the colonel goes over and hooks his finger into the guy's cheek and drags him off. And it's basically torturing him, and he's like, "Who has the fish guy? Where are they taking him? Blah 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 blah." And the scientist, of course, spills the beans. So he's like, "It was Eliza and it was Zelda." And then the colonel shoots him to death. And then he goes to find Zelda's apartment. And he's threatening Zelda to tell him everything, and Zelda's not answering, but her stupid husband is like, "Oh, it's Elsa. That's where he is." And then the guy leaves, and Zelda calls Eliza to be like, "You need to leave. You need to leave now." So when the colonel arrives at the apartment, everyone's gone. So they're already at the dock, but he knows where they are because she had a calendar note that had written "Oh, the docks, blah, 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 blah," kind of thing. So he's like, that's where they are. So they're at the canal, and they're saying goodbye, and she's sad, but she's like, it has to happen. But then, and her friend is like, "I'm going to give you some space so you can say goodbye." But then the colonel comes over, right when he's about to jump into the water, and he pushes Giles, and then he shoots both the fish guy and Eliza.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so
okay.
Shoots both of them fatally. So they both fall to the ground. And obviously the fish guy heals himself, and he stomps over to the colonel, and he's like, "No one touches my woman," and he slashes him across the throat and kills him, and he's choking on his own blood and dies. And then the police arrive because they had called the police, and Zelda's there, and then the fish guy, he picks up Eliza, and he jumps into the water and touches her neck, and then the scars on her neck open up like gills, and she can breathe underwater.
Oh my god, it's almost like I called it.
She comes back to life, and they hug and embrace and live happily ever after, or so her friend thinks. And it shows he had that picture of her hugging him and everything, and then it ends. So, yeah, that's the movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
It really is just a movie about these two.
Yeah.
Falling in love and making love.
Yeah. Indeed.
Okay.
Yeah. Thoughts?
This won Best Original Movie, didn't it?
Best Picture.
Best Picture,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. I love that.
I know. I love that this won Best Picture. I could see why, but it's also a bit surprising that it won, in my opinion.
That's hilarious. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. And, there's definitely certain... Because, again, Del Toro is one of those directors who is just so meticulous in his films, which makes the films really fun to watch visually. And I definitely appreciate that a lot more now, especially since so many films just have this drab, washed out color palette. It's not, I don't know, I don't want to say there isn't thought in a lot of the mainstream films, because obviously there is, but you can just see how stylized and meticulous and thought out everything is in his films, and this film is definitely no exception. There's visual thematic elements. She starts to wear more red as the film progresses, and as she falls more and more in love. In the beginning, I don't recall if she's wearing much red, but then later she starts more red starts showing up in her outfit. The little robe she had, I think, was red, and then by the end of the film, she's completely in red. And you can see in the poster even that she's dressed completely in red. That was the outfit she was wearing at the end of the film. So there's that element, and as she's wearing more and more red and falling more and more in love, she also starts to come out of her shell more and stand up for herself more and be bolder and stuff. And you can see that in how she responds to the colonel, because she went from like being scared of him and running away to literally telling him "fuck you" like in sign language, and he doesn't even know what she's saying, and she's like smirking at him because she knows she has the upper hand. And then on the flip side too, like there's a lot of the symbolism around the language, right? Like speaking, because the way the colonel dies is his throat is slashed in a way where he can't talk. And he also has this weird fetish with women being silent or whatever, so, it just being quiet. So there's that kind of thing. The scientist gets shot in the cheek, which affects how he can talk, and he's tortured through that, which is how he talks and like spills who did what. And then also like the colonel is kind of shown in the beginning as like this perfect sort of guy, like the typical American nuclear family sort of person, just land, because he's new to the job too, so it's like his big project and he has to impress, and then he gets more and more pressure on him. So even though he's like a pretty awful man, there's still like enough sympathy for like his position, because the general is really like hammering down on him, like, if you don't find this, like, you're toast, your career is toast, you're toast, your family's probably toast, like, I'll kill you. So he's like desperate, and you see like the degrading of like him and his perfect little family, and then like, and he's in like perfect health too, and there's also like a car that he had bought, which was like this big deal, like, this is the car for the modern man, this is like the best car you could get, and he gets that car, but that car gets like crashed when they're like escaping with the fish man, and then his like fingers deteriorating like throughout the film. Like at one point he just pulls the fingers off.
That is so gross.
It's just so disgusting. I didn't watch it, but it's just like they're slowly deteriorating, and it's like, is this a metaphor for him losing his humanity, or
I think it is.
Yeah, there is something else like related. I can't remember, but there's something else in the film that was like kind of related to that finger thing or whatever. So like that kind of falling apart and getting corrupted. So it's, I don't know, I really liked it. And the production design was great. The Fishman is beautiful. He glows. Sometimes. He's got like a bioluminescence going on. The artist, when he was like, "You're beautiful, I want to paint you," I was like, "Yes, you get it." He also has this catchphrase where he's like, "I think this is the best thing I've ever done." And he says it about like whatever last thing he drew. He's always like, "This is it. This is the best thing I've ever done," or whatever. Yeah, and then also just like the theme of like these are all isolated, marginalized people, kind of banding together, helping each other, trying to figure out how to survive and find love and all that in this world. So I just thought it was really sweet film. So,
did you wake up from your nap?
Hello, George. Not him like licking his chops.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I liked it. I had read somewhere where it was like Guillermo del Toro using primarily like practical effects and literally having a man in a suit to play the fish man, but only using CG to make his eyes more sparkly is like
I mean, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's like that's how you should use CG. But yeah. And it's also interesting too because this film is one of the few films that really kind of centers like female sexuality in a way that doesn't feel objectifying. Because they show her masturbating like in the tub a couple times in the film. And it's just like it's implied, but it's pretty clear that's what she's doing, and it's like, oh, that's interesting. We don't see that often. And not portrayed as just this like mundane thing, because it's like she just does this every morning kind of thing, so it's like this mundane thing. And
God, every morning, Jesus. Sorry.
Sometimes it be like that, Monze.
Is it? Jesus.
It's funny because she sets like an egg timer for like 15 minutes or whatever. I'm like, girl, you're getting it done in that period.
I mean, if she does it every morning, she's got it like timed down. Like she knows.
She's got it down to like a science, like whoop. But she's also doing it like in the water, so it also makes sense like why she would be so drawn to like this water man, because there's already like a correlation,
the connotation,
of like
whatever.
the sensuality with the water and the shape of water and all that. I think they said the line in the movie, but I don't remember how it was said in the movie. But yeah, so it was interesting. It was I like it.
Okay.
Yeah. Looking at the trivia, I think the only things that are kind of like, is I feel like he could have found like an actual mute or deaf actress, especially when he was also Latina, to play the character, because the character is like got a Hispanic name. But Sally Hawkins is playing her. But Sally Hawkins does a good job, so it's like, okay, I guess. But yeah, it was a pretty fulfilling watch. We talked earlier about how Jungle Cruise lacked that spark. This definitely has that spark.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah. It's like eating a really layered, indulgent sandwich. So.
You were gonna say like a parfait or like a...
No, because
really
like
indulgent sandwich.
like a really good sandwich, because it's got different textures. I think when I see like a really good movie that I like, I don't think of it like a parfait or a cake. I think of it like the best sandwich I've ever had.
I just don't like sandwiches, so...
Oh well. It's always like a toasted sandwich. It's never a panini or a burger. I just think of it like sandwich with like bacon and avocado and lettuce and like the meat and the cheese and everything. You just bite down, it all crunches together, and it's really satisfying.
Okay.
Yeah.
You do you, Corinne.
I always do.
I know. I know. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad I know what happens in this movie now, in case I ever watch it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it took away from my enjoyment of it. Like, I knew what happened in the movie and how certain things happened, and I still had a really good time with it. Let's see. They're saying the part of Giles was originally written with Ian McKellen in mind. I could see that. And Del Toro was inspired to do so by his performance in Gods and Monsters as the real-life closeted gay filmmaker James Whale, the director of Frankenstein, The Invisible Man, and Bride of Frankenstein, who found himself unemployable in his later years. When McKellen proved unavailable, Del Toro sent an email to Richard Jenkins, who accepted the part. Michael Shannon and Del Toro had early conversations about the notion that Strickland would have been the hero of the film if it had been made in the 1950s. Which the actor found interesting. Yeah, I think that's also pretty interesting and funny. Octavia Spencer, who played the role of Eliza's co-worker, friend, and interpret as Zelda, found it funny that the people Del Toro used to speak for the mute main character were people who represent very disenfranchised groups. Yeah. He kind of covers all of it. There's ableism, racism, and homophobia represented in those three people.
Yeah.
So.
And then like sexism because of they're like women or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, he almost made the film in black and white.
That would have been.
That could have worked.
I mean, yeah, that would have gone with like his whole thing anyway, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like the monster, lizard man, or whatever.
Yeah.
Calling back to those types of films.
On one hand,
but then you wouldn't have had the glittery eyes,
I know,
and the abs, and the red dress.
Yeah, I like the color because he mentions here, he was like, on one hand, I thought black and white would look luscious, which I approve of that word choice. But on the other hand, I thought it would look postmodern, like I was being reflective rather than immersed. I agree with that. I think color is the good choice. Oh, there's this really great sequence. It's like a dream sequence kind of thing, like when she's falling in love with him, where they're like, it's like the old school Hollywood musical set where they're like dancing around and everything. And it's like Eliza dressed up like a Hollywood actress, and then the fish man is like in a tuxedo, and they're like dancing together. They're like in the old movies. I thought that was really cute. I don't remember if that was in black and white or in color, but I remember it was a really cute sequence. But yeah, it was good film. Any other trivia? It was primarily inspired by Del Toro's childhood memories of seeing Creature from the Black Lagoon and wanting to see the Gilman and Kay Lawrence succeed in their romance.
I love that. He just wrote fan fiction.
Literally, he said, that's what I mean. Del Toro was like, I want a monster fucking movie. And I know you want one too.
Because I wanted one when I was 10.
He is taking it to heart, make what you wanted to see when you were younger, and just like running with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Very cool.
Yes, but yeah, I liked the film. Not
good.
the biggest fan of like voiceover, because there's like voiceover narration. I've noticed
Yeah.
he does that quite a lot, but still good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, voiceover is hit or miss. Oftentimes it's not. Like, most times you don't need it for a film.
Yeah. But, yeah. It's just a very satisfying watch.
Mm-hmm.
A few years ago, I went to like a Del Toro museum exhibit thing where they just had like pieces from all of his films. So I'm hoping if they do that again that they include Shape of Water. 'Cause,
You just want to see the...
yeah.
You just want to
Yeah.
see the lizard, the
fish man.
The water man.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
That's what I want to see.
I want to see it up close and personal.
Be like, Doug Jones, you're my favorite actor, but only when you are dressed up as Abe Sapien or the Fish Man.
Oh, wow.
It's like how, who's the guy that plays Vision?
Oh. Yeah, I know what you mean. That guy.
Yeah, it's like...
Paul Bettany.
Yeah. I'm like, outside of Vision...
Yeah, he's not an attractive looking man. But when he's Vision, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
I guess.
No, he's so... Oh my god, I love him so much as Vision. But when he's not Vision, I'm like, maybe.
Maybe.
But he's tall. But it's like, him as Vision is like, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So,
anything else? No.
I just like smooth, colorful men.
You like smooth, colorful men.
Non-human men. If it's a robot
I
or a
love
fish man, yes.
Smooth, non-human, colorful men.
Yes. Who are emotionally deep.
Emotionally deep.
Care about me.
Care about you.
Yeah. Who they'll jump into the water with me and heal my lifelong scars so that I can breathe underwater, or he'll, go through the whole world just to like be with me or something, like Vision and this fish man, they're just top tier.
Top tier.
Top tier.
This is such like an impossible find
I know.
in real life.
I know. It's so hard. I have to settle for what I can get.
My goodness. Are you settling if that's what you're trying to get?
Settling for a human, yes.
Settling for a human. I mean, you have the colorfulness in your hair.
I do. See, I don't know if, I want to be with that or if I want to be
To
it.
be that.
Yeah.
I get it. I understand. Do I want to be Aladdin or do I want to marry Aladdin?
Yeah.
Was the issue I had as a child. It's his pants are really cool. I love his vest.
Mm-hmm.
His hair is really great.
Mm-hmm.
I love his stupid little hat he wears sometimes.
Yeah.
It's To wear a hat? Yeah. It's a look.
It is a look.
It's a look.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so any final thoughts before we go into rating it?
I think I'm just sort of shocked by how much, like, non-action there is. Like, it really is just a love story. Which I think, was sort of shocking to me. That's about it, I guess.
Yeah. Like, there's a little bit of action when they, like, rescue him.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it seems like, right, like...
Yeah.
Obviously the rescue and the ending,
Yeah.
and even, like, the beginning, probably. Even though you might not... I don't know if you see anything, but, like, the fingers or whatever, right? Like...
Yeah, there's, like, hints of unsettling... Like, there's, like, bits of unsettling things throughout where I would agree with the R rating. And, like, the spy subplot and all that. But it is pretty centered around the love story, which I really like. I really like a story that is, like, kind of simple at heart, but it's set within, like, extraordinary circumstances.
Kind of like Avatar. Are you excited for Avatar 2? The movie no one asked for? I've never even seen the first Avatar.
I was like, are you talking about Blue Avatar or Avatar The Last Airbender?
I'm talking about Blue Avatar.
Oh my
I'm not talking
goodness.
about Avatar The Last Airbender. I'm talking about Blue Avatar.
Blue Avatar is like... Blue Avatar buys too much into... I don't even think that's a simple story affectionate. That's a simple story derogatory. Where, like, it wouldn't work... like, outside of the setting. But this kind of story could work even if she, like, found him in the jungle, you know, or whatever.
Tarzan.
So, yeah. And it's also quite literally like that one episode of Gravity Falls where Mabel falls in love with Mermando. Which was not lost on me when I was watching it.
Oh, really? That wasn't lost on you, huh?
I was like, this is like that Gravity Falls episode.
I think Guillermo del Toro stole it from Gravity Falls. Who came out with it first?
But yeah. What would you rate this movie?
I guess a 3.5 out of 5. I don't know. I'm still very much interested. I do still want to see it. But I'm just not that interested in a hot fish man.
I thought you understood, Monze.
I understand, but it's not my thing, right? Like, I understand why some people are into BDSM, but that ain't me. No, thank you. Don't hurt me. Get away. You know, like, I get it. I'm an empathetic person. I understand. I can see your point of view, but I'm not into that.
That's
I don't want a non-human colorful man who gets me emotionally. Like, I'm cool. I don't need that. Fish man or robot man. I'm sorry, Corinne, to hurt you like this. Your face is like a betrayal.
It's just more for me. Now, I'm sitting here being like, but Monze the dwarves.
Okay. Look.
Those are not human. The Lord of the Rings dwarves, I should specify.
I know that's what you're talking about.
I'm
not
specifying
like the
for
weird Snow White.
the listeners.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not talking about...
Yes. I know, but look. I don't really want to be with them. I just love them as people.
You appreciate their culture.
And I do, I think, I love, like, dwarven culture. I think that's, like, the thing about, like, Lord of the Rings and stuff that I don't like is that everyone, like, focuses, like, oh, the elves or, like, the men or whatever. But it's, like, The dwarves are so cool. Like, I think that their whole culture or whatever is, like, so cool. And I think it's a shame that we really don't go into it. Like, oh my god, this is so nerdy. But, like, I just, like, I just want to know, like, what it is like to live inside that mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I kind of want a ladybeard. That'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I just really want to be a hobbit. Like,
I know you want to be a hobbit, which is why I didn't say hobbits.
No. I know.
I know you
I'm
want
just saying,
to be that.
I want to be a hobbit because that lifestyle, 7 meals a day, sign me up.
Yeah.
Just chillaxing all the time. Yeah. I'm down for it. Their clothes, their little pants with, they're like little capris because they don't reach their calf. You know, they reach like half height. They're so tiny. Oh my god, I would love to be that tiny. It's like, yes, I complain about being 5'1", but like just to be that little tiny person, like, oh, so cute. I can fit in your pocket. Like, you know. And then even like the dresses are like so fun. Like, oh, look at those dresses. Like, they're so floofy. And then everyone has like all the like the lady hobbits have like flower names, which I think is so cute.
I
think that is so cute. But like and then all the guy names are like really stupid, and I love how stupid like the like boy hobbit names are. But also, I love dwarves, and I think they're so cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to marry a dwarf or have any other kind of relations with a dwarf.
I see.
It's not my fantasy.
I see. Well, you're entitled to that. That just means
I know. Yes.
more fishmen for me.
Yeah, have all of them. To be honest,
Would
if any of them come up to me, I'd be like, "Hold on, I have a friend."
Would that I could. I would rate this movie 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
I think immediately after watching it, I was like, definitely at least 4.5 out of 5. But on reflection,
definitely at least 4.5 out of 5.
But upon reflection, I would give it a 5 out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah. I won't elaborate on my scoring system. I think it's pretty clear what's driving the score.
Yeah, I think I know exactly what's driving the score.
But it's a good movie. So, yeah, it's great. Cool. If you've watched Shape of Water, let us know your thoughts. Unless you didn't like the movie, then keep it to yourself. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you guys next time. Also, we just hit 200 downloads, so thank you so much for listening.
Bye, everybody.